Well, hey there, it's Julia's Palette Studio, and a fine art of Julia Dufault McGrath. Great to see you. I am doing a short demo tonight on mixing skin tones. Now, there's lots of ways that lots of colors an artist can use to mix skin tones depending on, the race of the individual, um, the age of the individual, and so there's all different, like I said, all different kinds of color mixes. But I'm gonna stick with pretty much two. I'm gonna use some alizarin crimson and some Windsor yellow, and then I'm gonna use some cad red, actually Windsor red. I'm gonna use some Windsor red and some Windsor yellow and use those. I'm also going to do some shadow area, so I'll be pulling in some cooler tones to neutralize and darken those areas. And the photographs that I have aren't very good, but I'll show you the painting that I'm working on. Let me just switch this. So this is the painting that I am working on right now. I've been working on it for a while and actually gave it up for a long time. It's a it's it's pretty emotional. It was started at a very distressing time in my life, very difficult time. But I decided to keep it going because um, it really it has a lot of meaning for me of what I went through. And so just to discard it, I just didn't want to do that. Now I am working in watercolor here. Um, I'm definitely working this in watercolor, and the only issue that I've been having is um, some issues with the paper. And at first I thought I should just scratch the whole painting, but it's not bad. I mean, so it's kind of adding texture. And it's not in all the areas either. It's just in certain areas. So I decided not to not to throw it away, but to keep working on it and develop it some more. And these are actual photographs. I'll show you. What I did was I took photographs of my own hand because I don't have models to do of anybody else's. So I took photographs of my own hands, and this one is actually this hand up here, but it's reversed. So it's kind of tricky for me to look at it because I have to reverse it in my head. But let me move that. Let's move that. Yeah, let's move that. So yeah, I'm gonna actually move this down here. Hopefully, well, I'll make it smaller. I can do that. How about I make it smaller for you guys so it doesn't take up that much room? So anyway, yeah. So this one here, this here is actually this here. So I have to flip it in my head when I'm painting the shadow areas and all that, which I keep thinking, you need to just print out another one, mirror it, print out another one, flip it horizontally, and then you wouldn't have to stress out so much. But I haven't done it yet. And then, of course, I have um, this hand right here, and that hand is actually this hand down here. So this hand right here is not holding the heart or not waiting for. I don't have the heart in this one, but I'm using this as my reference to paint this. Now the color is off on this. It's all my reference photos. The color's off because they're all taken at different times, different lighting, and actually some were done on my cell phone, and then some were done with a camera. So they're not all uniform color wise. This one, of course, here is this one is this one right here. So this one is this hand right here. And this color is really off. It almost looks ghoulish greenish here, but like I said, I'm just using it for value and not for the exact color. So we've got that one is here, and then that one is there. And then this one is that right there. So these are my references that I'm using. This one is when I printed it out, it's much more yellow than real, than what is real. So I want to do two different skin tones because I don't want this to be all the same. That to me is like too boring. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use alizarin crimson and yellow for one or two of the hands, which I've already started, and then more of the Windsor red and yellow for the others. So I've kind of decided that I'm going to use the alizarin, which you can kind of tell already on this hand. Actually, I'm going to use not just alizarin, but I am going to use alizarin. These three hands, I'm not going to use alizarin at all, but I am going to in these two hands right here. I want the differentiation as though they were different people. But like I said, I don't want it to be so matchy-matchy the same that it makes it less interesting to look at. So that's what I'm going to do right now. So right now I've got my palette. I got a clean palette to start with. And excuse me, I do have some reds up here already. And I've got some green, which I'm not going to use that right now. For the most part, when I do shading on skin tones, I use dioxazine violet, I use cobalt violet, I use ultramarine blue, and then once in a while when I'm doing a face, like when I'm like let's see, when I'm doing a face or like a rounded shape, like the cylinder shape of my arm, or going back on the side of my face, a lot of times I'll do just a little bit of Hooker's Green Dark. I'll do a little bit of green. Not a lot, but just a tiny bit. And of course, when you choose, when you go and you choose, like, your um, cobalt violet here and your dioxazine, it's like one is warmer than the other. The cobalt violet is a warmer purple. Dioxazine violet is a cooler purple. So depending on the skin tone that you're working with and the area in shadow, this is kind of what I add. And I know that a lot of times I'll add some ultramarine. Okay. So just to get started, I am going to just real quick, I have to push this little table here back a little bit because I've got a little ledge underneath me. Yeah, I got a little ledge underneath me that I put my keyboard on and all that good stuff so that when I need to, what's that doing? Oh, I got, oh, I had a canvas under there that blocked it. There we go. All right. Whoop. So now, pardon me, this fell on the floor. A nice big pad. So now when I got that, I'm gonna put that back up there. that's pretty tight. I think I'll wait. I'll just set that aside for now. Let's just set that aside right there. Okay. So just gonna grab a sip of water. For some reason, I feel like my throat is all of a sudden like it's dry for some reason. But okay, so I'm gonna start with the hand in the upper corner, the one that's actually, let's start with the one in the upper left-hand corner. I want to do that one. Let's do this one. I'm going to start with this one here. And for that one, I'm going to use as my, okay, so I've got this reference for the lights and darks. What I'm going to do first is just put a wash of color over there. I'm not going to do any mixing. I'm just going to put a layer of Windsor Red, a real pale layer of Windsor Red down. Whoops, wrong one. I need to get my reference. Hang on. Oh, duh, it's right there. Okay. This thing throws me off because it's such a ghoulish color. Oh, that photograph is so ghoulish. Like creepy. So I'm going to take I've got a Richardson size 10. This is one of my favorite brushes. It's a Steve Quiller brush. He's a huge, big time water media artist. He does mostly he does, well, not mostly, but he does watercolor, but he also does casing and gouache. So, but he's an incredible colorist. I'm sure you've heard of the Quiller color wheel. So it's pretty amazing. So I'm going to take some Windsor Red, which is this one. Whoops. Actually, let's see here. Yeah, this one is Windsor Red. I'm going to take that and put that down, and I'm going to spray some water. You can see the mixing up on the top right of my screen. Right now, I will make that larger because it's very tiny right now. And I doubt you guys can see much of that. It's really small. So let's just make this a little bigger so you guys can see it a little better. Okay. So I'm going to just take some, actually, I'm going to mix some in here because I want to make a little bit of a wash here. No, you can't see that. Okay, so let's move that there. Okay. I have this little ceramic, these are little ceramic stackable mixing cups. They're actually really cool. I'm going to add a good amount of water in there. Yep. Okay. And just a little bit more Windsor Red. Now, I know that I have said this before, but I'm saying it again. Before you put the color on your painting, I strongly suggest that you test it, with testing paper, okay? So that's pretty dark. I don't want it that dark. I'm going to add more water. So I just want it to be like a pale pink, okay? I just want it to be more pink. A lighter, lighter, lighter color. Because I'm just adding a glaze. This is how I work. I make glazes, okay? So I'm going to start laying this color down, and I'm going to just keep, that's going down pretty dark. I don't want it that dark. So I will just add more water. It's still too dark. It's way too dark. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to come in and I'm going to lift that right now, the paper towel. Okay. Yep. Lift that up and bring that to this. Now, there's a painting on my website. It's called Thinking of You. It is a human figure that I did a long time ago. It's one of my favorite paintings that I've ever done. But that painting, actually what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a little water to this area first. So that painting actually has, God, probably over 20 glazes in some areas of the skin. It's got a lot of glazing, layer and layer. So a lot of that painting was just making the skin tones by putting layers of color over one another, transparent color over one another, and creating the skin tones that way. Let's see. Okay. I think I'll do that. I'm going to add some more water and do it that way. Now, mind you, I'm putting more color on the bottom, on the shadow side, because the light source is coming from the upper left down, okay? So the light source is hitting the top of the hand here, it's hitting the top of the hand here, it's hitting the side of the thumb right there, and the top of the thumb right there, and then in here, it's down here, it's hitting like the top, this portion of the hand down here. That's where the light source is there. So I'm keeping that in mind as I lay my paint down, and I'm gonna just want to get some of that water down. I gotta realize that there's a fingernail here. It does have some of that flesh tone, so I am gonna just carry the water because there we go. Just moving the water, just wetting the whole thing. Now I don't want to go here where that string is going over the hand, so I gotta be careful there. Gotta follow that right there. I don't want the paint to go on that because that is a totally different color and almost like an ivory color. So I have to keep that from turning pink. We don't want it to become pink, right? I'm still, if you notice, I'm still developing the background on this. The background on this is a French jacquard large napkin. I love French jacquard. It's one of my, it's a weakness of mine. Whenever I see it, I just, especially the manufacturer called Thibault. Oh my gosh. Their jacquards are the most incredible, most gorgeous fabrics. Now, whenever I see one, I always try to make sure I buy myself at least one napkin or two. I mean, the linens are so expensive, I can't afford a tablecloth, but let's just lay that in there. I don't want to, I got to be careful. And I don't really want to use Misket at the moment. I don't want to do that. I will use Misket again on the strings going around the hands, but I'm not going to bore you guys watching me put that down because we all know how to do that. And that. Like I said, everybody has their own formula for mixing skin tones. This is just I've got several different ways that I mix it, like I said. But for the most part, I'm going to stick with these because I am Caucasian, and this is sort of an allegorical painting about me and a certain time in my life. So they are Caucasian hands. I mean, sometimes, we have to make art that's a reflection or comes, it has to come from you, you know, but your feelings about things. And I mean, yeah, sometimes we don't always have to be politically correct in putting down our own personal feelings. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. You don't want to be disrespectful, but at the same time, you have to use your own reality and your own circumstance. So let's put that back down there again. This is really soaking it up. Really soaking it up. Let's go back in here again a little bit more. There. Okay, that's good. All right. I had to just make sure it's all shiny. Okay, when I'm putting this paint down, I want to make sure it's all shiny. So yeah, it's definitely me because you can even see I have I have rheumatoid and osteoarthritis, and you definitely see it in my hands. That's for sure. That is for sure. So I'm going to let's do this. Comes down. That is a lot lighter there. I'm just gonna do that. And this up here, let's do this. Okay, that's dark right there. I'm gonna put a little more right there. Just let it drop in a little bit. And, oh, you don't want to have those show up. Nope. Nope. You don't want that. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Yeah. Mm. You can kind of see the speckly, what I'm talking about on the paper. Do you see how speckly that is, kind of? Um, it, it, it really shouldn't be that way, but I'm gonna do that. Let's see. That's that right there. That's that knuckle right there. Goes up there. And then there's some more in there. So I'm trying to pay attention to what this is doing. Got a little more color in there. But definitely there's that there. A little color there. Light color there for sure. I see that. And I see that there. That. Now remember, watercolor dries lighter than when you put the color down. When it dries, it's going to be lighter. So sometimes I get worried that I'm putting down too much. Like it's too, like I'm putting down like it would be too dark. But then once it dries, it's okay. So I want it to be a little darker right in here. I'm going to lay more color in. And from there, I'm going to lay more color there. Right. I have to blend that out. So I'm going to take my wet brush Not super wet, just a little bit, because I want to carry that along. Now the light is coming on the top of the hand, so right now I'm not gonna add much color up there because it's brighter up there. Okay, so I'm gonna let this dry right here, and now I'm gonna go over to this hand here on the upper right. And so that you guys can see, I am going to move that palette over to the other side. So if you just bear with me, I'm going to take this and I'm just going to move that over here so I can work on this one. So once again, I am going to put some water down first. Put some water down, making sure that I don't get it on the background, the fabric in the background. I'm just gonna add that water in there. Here. I don't want that. That's too wet. I don't want it super wet. So where's my reference? Where did I just put it? I need to get my reference there. Let's see. This one. Nope, that's not it. This is my reference right here. Okay. So looking at that, this is that's the top. This is the bottom. There we go. That's darker there. Just talking out loud, guys. Sorry, don't mind me. Oops. That's too much water. It's going to take some of that up. Got too much water up there. Yep. I don't want water there. So, nope. This is my thumb ring. Got that on forever. Since 2000. 24 years that ring has been on my finger. It's got special meaning. So that thing has been there for a long time. Yep. Okay, let's see. Hoping my puppies cooperate. Usually at night they're pretty good. During the day, forget it. When they see squirrels come by, oh my gosh. Forget it. Forget it. Okay. And yeah, I'm going to put some water there. Wasn't going to, but I changed my mind after I looked back at my reference photo. Yep. Putting that there. There. Okay. Okay. Everybody has their own style of painting. So if you don't paint the way I do, don't fret yourself about it, okay? Everybody has their own way, their own journey of how they do things. So one is not correct and the other wrong, okay? It's just how I go about it and then how you go about it. As long as we can get to the same end, that's all that matters, you know? That's all that matters. If we can accomplish our goal, that's all that matters. So there's that. I don't see anything shiny right there. I gotta make that shinier right there. And like I said, I'm making that. Okay. Yeah. Okay, and coming all the way down the arm. Okay. Okay. All right. This, that. Okie dokie. Here we go. All right. Okay. So I'm going to look at my reference and I'm seeing this here, darker there, there, got that darker there. Let's do this. Do a little bit of that right there. Okay, I did put some in the fingernail because the fingernail isn't white. Okay, so I did put some of the Windsor red in there. Okay, because it's not white like I said. And it goes darker there for sure. And under here, I'll just carry that down. Yep. I'm looking at where the wrist and the hands. Let's see. I should see this. I can't see the. If I hold it, I might have to just do myself a favor and print another one of these out. Oops, piece of hair. Oh, how did that get there? I don't want my hair in there. Okay, we'll get it out. There we go. I got it. All right. There we go. And let's do this. Yeah, it looks like I have freckles all over the place. It really does. Let's see. That. The inside, so it is darker. I am going to blend it out, but it is darker. Gotta make sure. I don't want a hard edge there at all. I don't really want hard edges. Softer edges for now. Yep, at least I do. For some reason, I'm going to take a little bit of that, some more here. And let's just do this because I see that. Okay, and a little bit more right there. Right here, right there. Okay. So that there. Okay. That looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. So this is, by all means, this is not finished. Okay. I mean, it almost looks like I didn't do anything to it, even though I did. But I'm not going to do anything right now to that. This is still wet up there. That's still wet. Very wet. It's still very cool to the touch. And I'm going to take some, I'm going to put some down here, add some more color down here, right? So I don't want to go in and add another layer of color. I don't want to do another glaze of color at the moment because that's too wet. So I'm going to wait a minute on that, and I'm going to, let's do this. I'm going to take this reference photo and I'm going to put it right there. And I'm going to use that. And I'm going to lay some more color in. Just put this. I want to get rid of these, this is what happens when you use Misket sometimes and you get those hard edges. So then you got to work at getting them out because that's definitely not natural. It's not natural looking. Rue, you gotta be quiet. You gotta be quiet, buddy. They're probably wrestling over a toy. Usually. Or a chew. I can hear them running around together. They crack me up. They crack me up. They crack me up. Okay. Okay. This one has a lot of shadow. A lot of dark shadow areas. I mean, they all do, but this one probably, see, it's just a matter of the reference photos I took were all different. Should have done it on the same day, but I didn't. I didn't. I tend to work with what I have at the moment. And I think this one was done with my cell phone. Yep. That one's done with my cell phone. Do this one. Now, I wondered about using gouache on this one. Part of me wants to try it in certain areas. It really does change the look of, I mean, I love gouache. It's so rich. It is incredibly rich in pigment. It's just gorgeous. It's almost like how rich pastels are. Gouache is the same thing. It is just beautiful, beautiful, rich pigment. It is more, oops, not like that. It's more opaque. It is opaque for the most part. But, and it is kind of tricky to handle. You can't really go over it all the time and rework it. So that's the tricky part for me. I But I do love it. Oh man, it's great. It's dries really fast too. So it's kind of, that's part of the reason I get frustrated because it's super dries super fast. And I don't work fast enough. So a lot of times I have issues with it, but I haven't really seen anybody do large paintings with gouache. I'm only seeing like smaller ones, but I could be wrong. I mean, I've done 9 by 12, I think, in gouache. I think one of them was maybe 11 by 14, but for the most part, I think they're just 9 by 12. Okay. Okay, so let's lay some more Windsor red down. And I think with this one too, though, I'm gonna add, I might add a different color. I'm gonna just lay it down at the bottom the lower areas for the most part. But I am going to put it up here. No, I'm just going to I'm going to do it all over because I'm just going to do it all over for the most part. Yep. Yep. This part right here. Do this here. This one doesn't matter if it's a little bit darker there because it is holding on to that part. So that area is going to be darker anyway. So, all right, let's see. Oh gosh, I mean, when I'm looking at this on the screen, it almost looks like I'm not adding anything. Oh, which I apologize for that, but I am adding. This is dark in here. Right, and it goes like this there. Oh, I can hear them now. Wrestling. Hey, boys. Hey, boys. I'm gonna put some, just a little bit right on the side, please. Let's see that, and then put down there that. It's going to be darker for sure right in here. I'm just going to drop a little hole in there and darker there. That's okay. It's okay if that's darker right there. And then, let's see, this right here, it's darker in there, and then there. Put it down here. Right there. Get rid of that line right there. 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 Oops, that's not what I wanted. I grabbed the wrong thing. Put that. Okay. I'm going to take that and just blend that out right there. Okay. All right, let that dry. So now I'm going to go back up here. That is still wet. That's unbelievable. And that's really wet. So, okay. Let us, I'm going to see something real quick. I'm going to see if I can add some shadow up there. Actually, I'm going to add some yellow. I said I was going to use Windsor yellow. Yeah, I'm going to stick to Windsor yellow. I am going to put about putting a little bit more down. I'm going to put a little bit more in my, just have to see which one is Windsor yellow right there. Okay, Windsor yellow. Put some fresh in there. Okay. Gotta buy more paint. Gotta sell more painting so I can buy paint. That's the problem. Yep. Paint's expensive for sure. Actually, I would love to use a bigger brush, but I don't want to because I don't want to mess up going around those lines. Where's my reference photo? That is, where's ghoulish? Here it is. So you know what I'm gonna do first? I'm gonna lay some. I'm gonna get the. I think I'm gonna use the. I'm gonna see what happens. I'm gonna add some. I'm gonna add some dioxazine violet real quick. I'm gonna put some. Let's see. Now I'm gonna have my paper towel very handy because that's not working. I'm gonna have it handy because if it doesn't work, I gotta be able to get it up right away. Yep, so I'm going to be moving this over again. Let's get rid of this. And I'm going to, here's my ghoulish hand back right here. I hate that hand, that picture. But I'm going to take this palette little thing and I'm going to move it over here again so that you guys can see what I'm doing here. So, all right, so you can see I have a very pale wash right here, and I'm going to put it on a piece of testing paper and see what happens here with the color. Here's my testing paper. Okay, that's what I want. I don't want it any darker than that. Okay, I don't want it any darker. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to dab it a little bit on my tissue, and I'm going to lay down some of that right in here. And this is dioxazine violet, and this is my shadow area. Okay, my shadow area. It is still damp, but I don't have a lot of water on my brush, so I can do it this way, and then I can soften it out. So I'm adding, and I will be going back. Oh, I see a little bit of a, I don't want to have a, I don't want to put more water down and get a bloom. You don't want a bloom. I don't want a bloom. So, oh, I need more water to blend that because I'm seeing brush marks. So I don't want that. Putting a wet brush down. Okay. I don't want to bring the purple up anymore. Actually, no, I don't. So I'm going to just dab it off a little bit. There we go. Soften that. Okay. It's really dark. I'm going to dab my brush. It's really dark in here. This and here. That's where the darkest is, right there. And under here. Right there. So I'm adding the purple. I just took my brush and I got a little damp brush and I'm just blending it out so we don't get a line. Don't want a line. And I'm going to do it again here. Just coming back, like kind of doing a wash, but it's not. I mean, okay, so I see those little freckles. I just call them freckles. Okay, there's that. I'll damp that again. And I'm going to look at my picture here. I see that dark color right here going up like that. And then it goes, oh, there's that bone is right there. I see a little bit of it right there. Take that up a little bit. I don't want that. And just bend that in a little bit. Take it like that. I always have my issue handy if I know I need to lift a little bit. It gives me more control. And okay, I'm going to have to dab that up a little bit. Don't want. I'm seeing nuances like in the wrinkles of my skin. That's what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to add that in a little bit. Really dark right here. Really dark. Now it's going to get darker than this, but just for now, I'm putting this in because this is a shadow area. And I am using my dioxazine violet. I've got that damp brush again, and I'm going to just dab it a little bit. There. Oops. Let's see. I'm going to add more purple. Okay, so I see up here, up in there, I see more of a shadow right there. It's kind of going into that right there. There. And then it's going like that. Actually, I have to lift a little bit right here. Lift that up a little bit. There. And I see the nail and shadow down here. And it's set deeper, you know, in within the thumb itself, so it is darker there. Okay. Okay, I'm going to leave this alone because I am going to be going over again with more layers, so I'm not going to freak out if I didn't get anything totally perfect right away. I'm going to have to go in and study this a little more. This right here, I'm going to have to study this before I paint that in, for sure. Yeah, so let's see, put that there. And the knuckles, I'm going to have to figure out. I know that's darker right there. Go like that. And then this is darker right there. And then there's a, I'll just do that right there. Okay. Actually, it goes right there. I'll do that. Okay. If I have to study this, I'm going to have to sketch it out a little bit on my painting. Just gonna taking my damp brush and just softening the edges here because I don't want that line, okay? So I don't want that line. Okay. Okay. All right. And now this one. Let's see. Let's see this one. Okay. So this one. So tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to post this. I'm going to stop and then do like a part 2, okay? Because these are still wet, and I really and I don't want to bore you guys to death. That's the thing too. I don't want to bore you guys to death with this. So I'm just adding in those shadow areas again. And again, I'm going to be adding more color on top of these, so I'm not too worried about it. But I do want to lay these darker tones in. The start of the darker tones, okay? Because it is going to be, oh, I gotta dab it, get that excess water out of there before I put that down because I don't want any blooms. Don't want any blooms. Okay. Oops, sorry guys, I didn't realize this was in the way again. I'm so sorry. That was in the way again. So yeah, I added the dioxazine violet. I added it in here, up here. Let me see if I turn this off. Will you still be able to see the palette? Yeah, you can still see the palette. That shows that up a little better. So, okay. So yeah, see, I just do this right there, there. I'm gonna just I'm gonna hit pause. Actually, I can just hit pause and leave it and then pick up. Just gonna let it dry, and hopefully my program will allow me to be on pause for a while, and then I can come back. So I'm gonna let this dry because the paper is still pretty wet, and I don't want to add too much paint on those wet surfaces, because like I said, I don't want any blooms. I want it to be pretty smooth because it is skin. So I'm going to hit the pause and we'll just leave this for now. I'll come back, but I do want these to dry before I go any further. Okay, so actually guys, I'm gonna I don't know whether I should pause it or just stop it for now and then do another part. I think I'll just pause it, okay? Yeah, because I've been putzing around at this for almost an hour, and I don't want to make this demo drag on and on for you, so I'm just going to pause it, let it dry, and then I'll come back to it, and then we'll go from there, okay? So I'll be back. I'll see you in a few. Thanks. So, you guys, it is the following day because it got too, it was still wet and it got late. So I decided that I would resume this today. So we are going to add some more layers. I'm not going to make this a 2-hour thing. But I do want to let you know that I know several watercolor painters that they use orange paint when they do their watercolor and for skin tones. And I've never used orange for skin tones. I mean, I mix my orange because basically when you're using Winsor Newton red or alizarin crimson, I mean, it's all red and yellow mixed together and creates shades of orange or light red or whatever. But I took it wasn't really a workshop. It was for something where you just watched her do it. She advertised it as a workshop where you could paint along, but it ended up where you were just watching her do something. And one of the colors that she used for her flesh tones was Daniel Smith. Pyro Orange. Now, I never tried it, never have, but I decided for this painting, I am going to do some mixing with this too. So yesterday, I put down some, layers of dioxazine violet so that I could get those uh, shadow areas, the shaded areas. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna I'm gonna put a layer of this down, and I am gonna do it. I'm gonna do it on this hand and this hand, and see if I like it or not. I mean, it's not gonna be like oh, I don't know how to say it. It's not gonna be like the end result, or because there's gonna be more layers applied. The only thing is I don't want it to become like muddy. So I'm just gonna just see how dark. Now that's just way too dark right now. So I have to really, really add some water to this. But I also know that I have to start putting color down more aggressively, because the layer I put down yesterday, the two of them, they were much too timid. They were way too timid. And at that rate, it would be taking me like 100 layers to get the depth of color that I want. And I gotta see if this works. For some reason that is not working. Let's see. Nope, not that. I don't know why. Okay, time to use a different spray bottle. Okay, so I'm gonna add more water to this Pyro Orange. Now you can't see it, but I'm gonna move it over into the picture frame. I don't know if you can see it or not, but I am going to be using my little ceramic tray with that color. Okay, I gotta move that up there. I want that there for now. So I'm gonna try another test. I'm gonna add some more. Oh, gotta get rid of that. I don't want it to come out as a stream. I want it a spray. Well, still. All right. We're gonna do another test on the testing paper. If I can find my brush, there it is. It went underneath here. So let's see if I got this to be a little bit lighter. Yeah. Okay. So I got it a little bit lighter. And that's okay. I'm going to start with that. So I'm going to move my water over here so I can get to it a little more readily. Now remember, this is the Pyro Orange. And I'm going to have my paper towel handy for getting the excess water off my brush. I'm going to put this over here. And let's see what happens. And I'm just going to put an overall washing on this. I'm going to start, I don't know if you can see it, I'm going to start down here. There. Got to be careful of that there. Let's get my water. There. Carry that up. Yep. Got my Spotify playing some jazz. I love listening to Earl Klugh. I don't know. I used to go see him at Baker's Keyboard Lounge back in the day in Detroit. Great guitarist. Used to play with Bob James. Got a lot of records with Bob James. Anyway, I love Earl Klugh's music. So I'm doing that in my studio along with talking to you guys. That's already making that look a lot richer. Gonna put water in there. Yep, ready. Put some more of that down. Yeah, it's a lot right there. Just gonna move that up. Don't really want it to cool. That up. Bring it up. There we go. See, we don't add white paint when we paint in watercolor. I'm going to lift this little area right here. It's a little bit too dark. Yeah. See if I can feather that up there a little bit more. Yeah. Okay. I can see that though. All right. Right. Okay. Carry that up. Got my thirsty brush. Just gonna carry that up. There we go. I like that. I do like that. Okay. You know, it would be ideal if I would mask this string so that I don't have to paint in sections like this. I'm actually going to do that today. I won't do it on camera because I don't want to bore you guys, but I am going to do that because I cannot put down the washes effectively with that like it is. So, and I do have to be mindful of where the color gets lighter. I have to remind myself that I'm going to get lighter and lighter, but I do like this. Yep. Yep. Okay. I like that. Yeah. Hey guys, if these guys start barking too much, trust me, I'll pause it so you guys don't have to listen to it. Let's see. Remy. Remy. Let's see. I'm trying to see where I see that shading. So that shading is going right up to that finger right there. What am I looking at here? That's the wrong hand. Gotta get my right reference. I'm not looking at the right one. Here we go. Here it is. Okay. So this is the one I want right there. Remy. Remy. Hey, Remy. Hey, Remy. Oh, he loves to bark at all the squirrels. Yep, he does. It's really dark in there. I can just put this whole thing in there. There. Dark in there. And you know what I see on the top there? I see some yellow. So I'm going to be putting some yellow up there at the top. Yep. And I am. Okay, now I put quite a bit down there, so I'm going to have to push some of that out. Actually, I can blend some of that up here because that color is going to go here. So, yep, and mhm. Remy, be a good boy. You're a good boy, Remy. Okay. This is actually the color I get a lot when I mix cadmium red light with cadmium yellow light. I get this color. Yep. For why, you might say, am I leaving those? Because that's where the folds of the skin are. I don't want to cover that all up. Oh, all right, let's see. This one I'm going to leave dark because that one is in dark shadow as well as that. So I can add just a little more pigment there, which I'm going to. Oh, just had my hand just froze up. That's weird. Has it ever happened to you guys? It's never happened to me before. Just decided to not move. Okay, so let's just do that. And make that a little darker. Make this a little darker. Okay. So if you see what I'm doing, I'm just adding these layers of color, bringing out, you know, I still want it to be soft. I got to put some here on this reference. I see some shadow right here, so I'm going to add, being careful not to go into the background. Adding some of that color right there. And just gonna just leave it like that for a minute. Okay. Now the other one I'm going to do is this one. So I'm going to get that other picture. It's this one right here. So I use this thing twice. It's kind of spooky looking, isn't it? Cut out hand like that. Ooh. It's really spooky. All right, so I'm just going to pay attention to the shadow areas here. It's like, I just want it to be like two different people, you know? Yep. So the light's coming from here, remember? So I have to keep this top of that lighter because it is lighter. Yep. Pretty much this is how I do all of my paintings for like my people paintings. I lay color down like this. Let's see. I did that because I do see right here, like this, down, down, down. So you always want to have a tissue nearby or a cloth, not a paper towel that has the texture in it because you don't want that texture to be imprinted into your painting. I always use these Viva Signature paper towels because it's just like a soft cloth and there's no pattern on the paper towel at all. So I use this one a lot for everything. I wish I could have cases and cases of it in my house because this way, if I don't like something, I can always lift it and not worry about imprinting the pattern. So that, I really like that one. I highly recommend it. Or if you have a bigger budget, those guest towels that you see in the bathrooms of restaurants and things like that. Those are really nice. Oops, shouldn't have used that for that, but I did. Okay, so those are really nice also because there's no texture in them and they're thick, so they absorb a lot. So yeah, I like those too. There. It is bringing out more life to this color instead of just being um, kind of ghoulish grayish looking. It is a little more lively, a little more alive looking, which I like. Do this darker right there. That's a lot right there. Okay. Yeah, I need to bring this down just a little bit more. I got my thirsty brush. Mm. Oh, it's gonna go like this actually. Yeah, that's gonna go like that. All right, got that. Here we go. I'm glad I caught it because I didn't want that crease going the wrong way. That would have been a not correct. That would not have been correct. So that. That into there. Right, like that. Okay. Got to pay attention to the way the hands are pretty tricky, to be honest. Hands and feet. Okay. Right, guys. going to let those dry. But I think, let's see, let's move this over for a minute. Uh, yeah, see, I think that using that color really brought those out a lot more, gave them a little more life. On the screen, it does look more yellow than what I'm seeing. My color is more on the bluer side because like on the screen right here, it looks really bright yellow in this area here. And I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing like a light, mm, maybe like a light salmon color, but right in here, it looks really yellow on the screen. And that's just not what I'm seeing. Um, I'm going to go and now these I added layers of Windsor Red, and I do want to pump these up a little bit, bring them up a notch in terms of depth of color or richness. Um, let's see, I'm trying to decide where I want to go with those. What color do I want to put in there? I need to think about that. Hmm. Let's see. Let's see. Not sure. Huh. I'm gonna try something. I'm gonna try something. Let's see. I was thinking of putting some Hooker's Green down, Hooker's Green dark on some of these areas, but I'm not convinced of that yet. Not yet. Uh, no, no, not yet. So let us see what and what do I want? Do I want to warm up those areas? I'm sorry, I'm thinking out loud, guys. Just thinking out loud. Um, let's see. Okay, let's see. Well, you know what? I'm going to stop this right now because this demo has already gotten to be in almost an hour and a half. So I'm going to stop this and I will do a continuation of this painting for another demo. But just for this one, you saw me do layers of color for skin. You saw me put down a shadow layer of the dioxazine violet. If you recall, I put it down in here, up in here, and then in this one up in here. So I am going to stop right now and let's see. And I will do some more demo on this painting, okay? But I gotta lift that up right there. But so that I don't bore you guys to death, I'm just gonna leave it there for now. I got some lifting of Misket to do, I see. Some Misket right there that has to come up. Okay, all right, guys. I'm gonna stop this for now. Thanks for watching so far. I know that this is a slow go, and I hope it wasn't boring, but this is my process, okay? This is how I paint. Um, well, especially with the skin tones, um, figures and things like that. I just go and layer color over color. So I appreciate you guys watching this. If you know of anybody else who might want to watch demos on Patreon, let them know about our page here. We're all on together. And like I said, oh, he's getting noisy, but like I said, thank you for watching, And I will continue with this painting for another demo. And it's probably might be the next demo I do, or I actually have a couple other things in mind. So um, thanks for watching. You guys have a great day, okay? And thanks so much for being my patron. I really appreciate it, okay? God bless you. Happy painting, and let your creative spirit sing. Okay, guys? So you take care, and I'll talk to you next time.